Guardian Knights are going to kill me.
Okay, that is the dumbest idea you could possibly have.
Robot dementia. Not at all pretty.
Welcome back. You heard it up top. Coming to an end here on a 5-movie journey. That's right. Transfor-May is wrapping up here on Normies Like Us with your hosts. The return of Colin Yager.
Micatron.
It's going to be Cade Yager again, so, maybe we're...
The one I almost gave you off podcast. Cobb Man. How are you not naturally going to everyone's new favorite character, Cogman Cobb Man?
Cobb Man, I like that.
I don't know. It's been quite a journey, though. I think we all can agree on that.
Wow.
Yeah, let's figure out, when did we watch this? Did you do it in one sitting? I watched it yesterday, and I already feel like I've forgotten everything about it, save my notes.
Sure. It's slipping away.
Yeah.
I did my usual, watch it over three sittings.
Parts.
And because these movies are like almost 3 hours usually, so I just watch an hour at a time. That's all that I can really handle in one sitting.
So that's the most a doctor recommends generally in one dose, right? About an hour.
So I watched the third act earlier today. And it was great.
Awesome. All right. Colin, how about you?
Again, that sounds so endless, Jacob. I was a good boy this time. I watched this film right before we recorded. Just finished it now. Transformers 5. The Last Night. The 5th Michael Bay film. And I think I said in prior ones, a movie I did not see in theaters. I've not necessarily seen all the way through. And another one where this is you guys seeing this for the first time, correct?
Yeah. I don't even think I maybe saw a trailer. Like, this was not on my radar at all. So, first
Well, that's
viewing.
almost something I want to say. A 2017 movie. This is something I was out here in California for.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, I maybe knew you at this point. Jacob, certainly we could have together at some point said, well, you're going to go see the 5th Transformer movie with me, right? But it just didn't happen.
Right. Well, it's amazing to think. I mean, this movie was made during the Trump presidential era. So it's really, there's been Transformers movies in 3 different presidential administrations, going back to George W. Bush, Obama. And I guess if they make a new one during the Biden era, that'll be 4.
Man.
Oh my God.
Incredible. What a series. Fast and the Furious is probably in the same boat though. So in good company. I think we definitely did know each other. I think the reason, and I'll talk about this more as we get into it, the reason this was off my radar is because in between the last movie and this movie, we've had The Force Awakens, and The Last Jedi would come out later in the same year. So I was not caring about Transformers anymore because, I thought The Force Awakens was pretty good, so I was very excited about Star Wars at that time. I was like, Transformers, get that. That's 2007,
Yeah, I think I was kind of surprised that they were still making them, and and Michael Bay was even still directing them at that point.
And there's like the longest gap kind of between movies, right? It's like 4 years or something.
They do 3 years between this one, 3 years between the last one as well. Other than that, it was pretty much every other prior. And then the last big, why this is the last hurrah in the last Michael Bay movie, that box office gross, right, guys? Like we talked about the target audience for these. This is a Chinese-produced film as well. They came in half with the receipts for Paramount to back the money on it.
Mm-hmm.
Chinese leads. We have Gemma Chan now, but this is one of the lowest grossing Transformer movies of all time. The last 2 over $1 billion to close out what turns out to be a 5-film franchise, $600 million. So a huge drop off.
And we saw the drop from, number 3 to number 4. It was still $1 billion grossing, but 3 was the most profitable. 4, still made $1 billion, but maybe the fatigue was starting to set in. We had talked about, and there was other big players in the space too. Like we said, now Marvel has probably had a foothold. Star Wars is back, and so there's other, major franchises kind of coming back in to steal some of that audience too, I think.
And I say it's a shame because we never got the conclusion to the Cade Yager trilogy. Sam Witwicky got a whole trilogy, but Cade Yager. Come on, we need
Who
a third
knows?
Cade
There's
Yager
a lot
movie.
set up in this movie too at the end, Jacob, that doesn't necessarily get paid off in like Bumblebee, which would be the next film after this, or whatever
Right.
will come.
Well, Bumblebee
I
kind
say-
of retcons everything, really.
And throws it all away. But again, this is another film about the secret, quote unquote, history of the Transformers.
Yes.
I want to jump in. I
Yeah.
want to jump in
super
right
excited
now.
to talk about
Let's
this.
get our thoughts. Let's do it. Let's talk. The last night on Normies Like Us.
Former.
Oh, hey, Chief. Wow, nice. What? Oh, God. Nice horse you got there. You're really getting into this whole Indian thing, huh?
Don't call me Chief. My name is Sherman.
Aren't you the tribal chief?
Yeah, but from you it sounds, I don't know, vaguely racist. My cruiser got stolen.
What?
Again.
That's terrible. You know what? Shit's getting out of control. There's crime going on everywhere. A bunch of my stuff got stolen.
Cut the shit, Cade, and get me my car back.
We're back, Normies. Pick up that sword. We're about to talk things that are a little medieval on our
That's right.
space sci-fi robot series. I guess that makes sense. Spoilers for a movie from 2017. We always give you that warning up top. We're kind of going to go through the movie, what we like, what we don't like. First impressions. First of all, I just want to get those from you. Jacob, you texted off pod.
Yes.
You're getting a little Stockholm syndrome with this series. Did you fucking like
Right.
this movie?
Well, yeah, it might be the Transformers Stockholm Syndrome, but I have to say I thought this was the best, or maybe just, the most fun to watch, at least for me anyways, of the first 5 that we've seen so far. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel, but I thought, it was the most entertaining to me.
Interesting. Okay. I'm not quite getting Stockholm Syndrome for the movie as a whole, but I am, as we alluded to, very kind of into the Cade Yager, Mark Wahlberg
Yeah,
depiction here.
Yeah. Well, I just think that, they're kind of getting better over time. I mean, to a degree. They're still bad movies, but I feel like 4 and 5 are a lot better than 2 and 3. Like, 1 was pretty good for this series, and then 2 and 3 kind of took a dip, and I feel like I came back with 4 and 5.
Yeah, and I think if we look at these as the Witwiccan era and the Yager era, right, I think I prefer saving the very first film, both of the films in the Yager era, than Dark of the Moon or
Yes.
whatever the other one, Rise of the Fallen. I prefer
Right.
both of these than any of the sequels to that original movie. Colin, how do you feel about kind of
100%
that
agree
split?
with you.
I'm with you guys. I said in past episodes, Mike, you just said the Marvel it all. This is the Avengers of it. We're getting characters that span those 2 generations, quote unquote, as you guys are breaking them up between the Witwicky versus the Yager years.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Mike, I also like this thing you said last week where, number 4, you could go from number 1 to that one. Just cut out the other 2 and go like, yeah, don't worry about that. And by the time you
Totally.
get to this one, it actually feels like a good wrap up for that. But I gotta say, the trappings and failings of this franchise, I started out so hot, and then by hour 2, something we
Yes.
have alluded to a million times while watching this movie, I'm like, oh my god, if you don't fucking save the world here in 10 minutes, you are getting turned off.
No, Colin, I 100% agree with that because I was enjoying it for like the first hour and a half, and then inevitably
A
I
lot.
paused the movie to see how much is left. Like, it's right when they're getting in the submarine. I'm like, all right, it's got to be like wrapping up.
Jacob,
There's
is
an
a
hour
moment
left.
in this movie where 2 different teams of our good guys go in different underwater crafts to go on different missions, and Anthony Hopkins has taken off to do something else where I go, what's going on? Why did everybody split up? Like, literally, I could not follow a moment of it. So
Sure.
that to me is the failing.
Yeah,
To,
but I think
go ahead.
I think the Cade Yager era is better than the Sam Witwicky era, and I think this movie is better than the last movie because number 1, I think Cade Yager is a better character now that he doesn't have his daughter and her boyfriend there, and so he's not just there to like make comments about her short shorts and can actually do other things. And I like the supporting cast of this one actually better than the last one.
Interesting. And that comment about not having the daughter around, yeah, I kind of like Cade Yager in this. He doesn't do anything, let's be clear. He doesn't
Right.
do anything but swing that sword one
Till
time.
the end.
Right.
Yeah.
The rest of he's just kind of running around. But he's likable in the role, like interacting with the new, not Rey from Star Wars and not BB-8,
Yes.
scrap character.
Oh my God, Mike, that just clicked in my head. That's exactly what all that stuff is.
But to give, The Last Jedi credit, which would come on after this, what's a Jedi but a knight? So did Rian Johnson steal his title from Michael Bay? Or did Michael Bay steal Rey from The Force Awakens?
We already had Revenge of the Fallen. That's kind of stolen from a Star Wars
Revenge of the Sith. So
as well.
Back and forth. But Cade Yager, this is, again, Michael Bay's tendencies are somewhat reined in and his strengths are highlighted. The action scenes are pretty good. And when we do have the requisite sexualized female lead, let's be honest, Michael Bay, at least she's like in her 30s and not a high schooler. And it's very minimal when it happens. It's like, thank you.
It's mostly pretty good, but then there's the one comment where Mark Wahlberg is like, oh, you with your education and your stripper dress. And it's like, what? It's just a normal dress.
It's a normal dress.
Guys, there's a general who makes the Michael Bay comment. He says, there's a girl, a woman. He corrects himself at one point and says, who has saved the day. You always want to go, again, you get the feeling, Mike, that Mr. Bay himself got a million notes after Age of Extinction about what to do for this movie, and he fired back with, well, I've got a note of my own. Cade Yager didn't get laid in that last film, and Michael Bay don't make no movie where Cade Yager ain't getting laid again. So he's just a different character.
Yeah, so they do, of course, force a romantic relationship between the British lady and Cade Yager, which he's like 50, and she's like maybe in her early 30s, so but as we learn, him being celibate is actually really important to the plot, right? Because that's why he gets chosen as the last knight. He has honor and integrity and all that stuff, but the most important thing is that you don't fuck.
Which is another good moment, too, because they're like, oh, you need to be chaste. He's like, I just got chased when I was coming in here. And she's like, no, you don't know how spelling works. And he's like, no, I do know. I was making a joke. Like, come on. Like,
right.
I'm actually pretty smart. Mike, there's a moment, basically... He gets called out for both of the things in the last movie we had issues with. The little girl says, where's your family? He says, I don't have a family anymore. We go, okay, that's great. We needed them out of this. Mm-hmm. She says, you call yourself an inventor. What have you invented? He says, I've invented things. She says, what have you invented? He goes, I've invented things. He doubles down on that.
Right.
He's invented remote control dog toys from RC Toys or whatever.
And a beer delivery robot.
It doesn't work.
So it gets the beer close to you. Closer than it was in the fridge. But that's the other thing too. Can he just say like, yeah, I save the world and I'm friends with Transformers. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm important.
I love his introduction in this one where he's basically like a rogue Transformer protector vigilante who's like going around trying to save Transformers from the government, like Homeland Security that's like hunting them down. Mm-hmm. Like my biggest problem with this movie is that it feels like two totally different movies combined into one. Because the first half of it is like him living in the junkyard with not Rey and all the Autobots and everything. You could make a whole movie that's just set there. And then the second half, everything in England with the Merlin and all that stuff, that could be its whole other movie. So it kind of feels like we meet the junkyard girl and then like halfway through it's like, okay, you're not going to be in the movie again until like the very end.
That happens a lot. I mean,
and his assistant Prime. And like all the Autobots in the junkyard there,
Yeah, it's something to do with all the story points, Colin. I want to get your take too. It's like things will be introduced and then be gone for like an hour or more, and same thing with our villain or anything like that. Does that bother you?
Yeah, I mean, that little girl, that's the most just outrageous one because, Jacob, it's you watch it and you're like, okay, so she's the lead of this movie with Mark Wahlberg. Mm-hmm. And basically when Gerard Carmichael at the end in that valley says, I brought help, and it pans to a million Autobots we've never seen before, and her
on your left,
oh my God, it is so reminiscent.
Everything in this movie is stolen from a more popular movie, right? So.
Truly, it really does seem like
that. That's
funny. And there's even little storylines I feel like that don't come to completion. Her buddy Squeak, a Transformer who she's sort of helping and saving. Does he ever transform in the way that she's setting up the entire movie? Like, I'm fixing him, don't worry about it.
Well, he gets the Decepticon arm that they install on his body, which comes back at the end.
But he's supposed to be a Vespa, but he never transforms.
Yeah, I guess he
Never
transforms.
turns.
But he's not the only one who never transforms, because Optimus Prime never transforms
Until
on
the
camera.
end, at the very
Yeah,
end,
that's
right?
wild.
Oh,
But you
yeah.
don't
when
see
a
it.
truck shoots through the smoke. Outside of that, though, Mike, I got to say, I made a note this time. There were a lot of on-screen transformations that I actually felt really good about, where I was like, damn, you know, the Hound roll-up. Because a lot of our characters, we should say, we've got most of our returning cast, let alone Autobots, somehow returning Decepticons. We'll talk about that in a second, that I got very confused by. But Hound, you know, a redesign, but looks sleek as motherfucking hell. He does like a little flip up. He transforms. We meet a ton of other people. Drift is red now opposed to blue.
Yeah, we get all the Age of Extinction heroes back. And they do a lot of transforming on screen, and that's good. You know, it's not little particles and nanomachines. You know, it's back to the good stuff.
Right, and that's why, like, the way they set this movie up, I really like the beginning of this movie, because, like, it opens up, you know, Cade Yager's hanging out with all his Autobot friends from last time, living in a junkyard, like, protecting Transformers, fixing them up and stuff, and then we get this girl, and we think, oh, it's going to be like a father-daughter kind of relationship. It's going to be great. And then he's like, well, actually, you got to go on this quest in England, so see you later.
Stay in the junkyard.
The last night, did you know that? You're like, no, I didn't know that.
Yeah,
right.
But I was so interested in, like, the IDF or whatever they're called. That's like hunting down Transformers, and then we get, of course, our buddy Josh. Right, he's coming back, kind of working for the bad guys. But I just like that whole setup and then there's also the whole England thing, which is the plot of that kind of feels like it's basically the Da Vinci Code, right? Because it's like the Knights Templar, but make it with Transformers, right? So it's like every famous person from history knew about the Transformers.
Yeah,
they were a member of the Witwiccan Order,
the
right?
Witwiccans.
And kind of a nod.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's like the Freemasons. Yeah, and so, you know, we talked about this on every episode, how it gets more and more tied with history, where the first one, it's like Area 51 is Transformers. The second one is ancient aliens in the pyramids. The third one is the moon landing is Transformers. The fourth one is dinosaurs were killed by Transformers. And then the fifth one, it's like anything else. King Arthur, World War II.
Hey, did you hear about dragons?
Einstein.
Because dragons were also Transformers.
Whatever else you got,
like, oh,
Transformers were there, right?
Right,
Nazis?
which kind of like did the
a
did the
transforming
Knights know
watch
about
literally
Egypt
killed
and all
Hitler.
that? Yes. So we see Bumblebee in World War II, which is great.
Which was cool.
But my question is, like, do all these history things retcon each other? Because, like, do the Knights know about the thing that was in Egypt the whole time? Like, all these different things, like, they never seem to interact. But
no continuity.
Yeah. And I mean, the plot of this movie kind of ruins the third movie a lot, right? Because that one was about Cybertron coming to Earth, and then this one's about Cybertron coming to Earth, just slightly in a different way.
Which further kind of pushes my hypothesis of just these are sequels to the first movie, and 2 and 3 don't exist. You know, that would make a lot more sense in that case. And they even allude, like Sam Witwicky, they show his picture from his eBay page that he's kind of a part of it, but, you know, Archibald wasn't part of the Witwiccan Order, because when he discovered...
I think he was, though.
No, but when he discovered Megatron, he told everybody about it. He wasn't trying to keep secrets of the
crazy
Transformers,
and blind. He didn't form, some sort of, like Mike's saying, Knights Templar leaving clues throughout history.
Which is more confusing than why did you use the name Witwiccan, but I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know why they use that name, but then when you see all the, it's like, oh, Albert Einstein, Da Vinci, Sam's grandfather, and also Sam. It's very strange. Harriet Tubman. She probably had better things to do than care about Transformers, but okay.
Well, the Underground Railroad was a transforming train.
Oh, yes.
We got to get out of here. Astro train.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Very steampunk. But yeah, so apparently all of human history is littered with the Transformers. We're intertwined with this.
Right.
And then the bloodline of Merlin is our female lead, and that's why...
Right.
We learned that Stanley Tucci's Merlin got the staff.
Thank you.
Right.
My special guest, I put it up last time. Will he come back? I said he comes back as a different character. Now, in my mind, I was still like, obviously, he's also like the Steve Jobs guy. That's just a fun thing they do at the beginning. No, Stanley Tucci only plays Merlin.
Yeah.
Drunk Merlin.
It would have made sense if like the Steve Jobs guy is also like a descendant of Merlin, since they're played by the same guy. But I guess that doesn't.
Of course.
Or working on the IDF, like, oh, we messed up. Use our technology to help fix it.
But we do get the return of our favorite character, John Turturro, right?
Is he the same character? I
guess.
Do they say his name?
Yeah, Seymour
he's
Simmons.
acting crazy.
How
much do you think he got paid for one shot at a phone booth?
At a phone
where
booth?
He's just talking, and at the end he goes,
Right.
"It's beach season, baby."
Well, the thing is, so apparently in the world now, Transformers are hunted down everywhere except for Cuba, where it's like a Transformer paradise and they're allowed to live out in the open. And he's living in Cuba now, so he's living with the Transformers.
Right.
So I don't know, but he's doing something different in every movie. But
I would like to see a movie about that, Jacob. There's a lot of big ideas in this movie.
True.
Because I guess Castro's cool with the Transformers, so.
Why don't just more Transformers go there? But I guess that also explains why, I was thinking, is Bumblebee just not loyal to Sam? But I guess since the fourth movie, they've been in hiding, because they're all being hunted. So he really didn't have a choice but to leave them.
We're not thinking about Bumblebee being loyal. We got Wheelie who's popping back in this thing and is like, Cade Yager, you and me obviously have always been best friends. You're like, no, absolutely not.
Well, and this is part of my thing is that there's a lot of different like sidekick characters in this because you got Wheelie, you got Squeak, you got Bumblebee is always a sidekick. For a little bit,
we get Terry and the little T-Rex.
Yeah, you get the little mini.
Okay.
Dinobots.
I gotta ask about those things real quick. What in God's name are the little Dinobots that Mark Wahlberg has? At one point, he picks it up and goes, "God, you're doing so good," and then it burps and he goes, "Man, okay, you gotta remember to do that outside though. I'm so proud of you. I love you." And then he puts it down, and I go, "What the fuck is going on?"
I assume it came out of some kind of Dinobot egg, right?
Oh, we saw that Transformers are birthed from eggs. We saw that on Rise of the Fallen, right? Or Dark of the Moon, one of them.
That's Grimlock's baby. He had it in the junkyard.
So, yeah.
Apparently.
There's one of each kind of, that there's a bigger kind of.
Yes.
So it's like they each have a baby.
They can reproduce asexually. They're ancient. We don't understand their methods. These are ancient Transformers, okay?
Right. And then the girl comes, and then after like a day, Cade Yager's like, "Oh, you're like my daughter now, so yeah, your family."
I've always loved you.
But he's on the run, estranged from his daughter, and then there's a moment when he calls his daughter, and Hound is like, "All right, we're triangulating the signal. You got 20 seconds," and then he talks on the phone for 37 seconds.
Oh, sure.
Well, he can't say anything because then they'll be tracked. He can only listen.
Right, but he's got 20 seconds.
I know you can only listen. So this time, actually listen.
He's
just kind of nodding.
Right, but yeah, that just shows the continuities with these movies. Is we've had them say 5 Decepticons went down, 6 came up, even though only 5 came up in that previous movie. Now you have 20 seconds on the phone, but it's 37 seconds. So no one's paying attention to anything is all that I'm saying.
Mike,
well, how about this?
Then continuity. Well, I just want to say we're introduced to Megatron. He never acts like he's ever been Galvatron. And then later in the scene, he goes, "I need all of my famous henchmen. I'm going to give you a list." Like guys like Mohawk. You're like, okay, hold on. Stop right there, Megatron. I ain't never met no Mohawk.
Colin, I just want to say that I actually like this part. Well, first of all, obviously it's kind of, copied from Suicide Squad, right? With the introduction with the text on the screen and stuff like that. But I like that they're actually giving Decepticons like more personality so you can actually distinguish them. I mean, at least Mohawk and, one-eye laser guy, whatever,
Nitro Zeus.
Retro Zeus.
Nitro Zeus.
Come
Sorry,
on, guys.
You're right.
Do we have a list of the other names that they throw out there?
There was one that was like the Berserker or something. They're like, no way. No,
not Berserker.
Yeah, we can't let him out. Yes, Jacob, I'm 100% with you. When they did that, every time I was like, they should have in every one of these movies cut 2 little vignettes of these idiots going like, "And I'm the wild card." It's so easy to immediately, like you said, put character on these people.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, these are the only other Decepticons that I could really think of generally are Megatron and Starscream and, whatever big boss happens to be in that movie. But this time, I guess Barricade, the police guy, he's been in a couple. But
yeah.
He's in this one somehow, even though I think we've seen him die in 2 other movies.
Right. But yes, I was very confused. Why is Megatron there? What happened to Galvatron? He's got a new look now, which I kind of like. His new face is like he looks more human, but also just evil, right?
The shape is almost more like the cartoon look, where it's got that wide, bottom, a little tapered towards the top. I was like, oh, okay.
There's a lot of homages, Mike.
Trying.
We finally get Frank Welker doing the actual voice from the cartoon. He's not doing even just like the jokey kind of up pitch that he was doing for Galvatron. Like, this is Megatron's original voice. He's got the side gun cannon, that was very reminiscent of the cartoon. And then that face. Yes, I like it when it's got the
tusks or whatever.
Again, medieval, because everything's medieval themed in this movie.
Yeah, it
sort
looks
of
like
helmet around
armor.
it.
Yeah.
But the face, Jacob, the human faces they decided like halfway through this franchise that like all these robots deserve to have haunt me truly.
I didn't mind it, like, because I like the more human looking face, and then he has like blood on his face permanently or something.
Yeah.
Just makes him look kind of more scary, I think.
Well, then should we talk about the other returning hero, our Optimus Prime, aka Nemesis Prime in this? And all my issue with this movie is it's fine that you get the heel turn, and we know that he's not going to be a bad guy forever. But the point is, he's in the beginning, and then he doesn't show up for like at least another hour. Like, he's in the movie for maybe 10 minutes, and it's a 2-hour and 30-minute movie, right? And that's what they've always done, is Optimus Prime is never in them. So
yeah,
but he does get to use his catchphrase. Jacob, what's his famous catchphrase?
I will kill you.
He says it 3 times.
Hooray!
Yeah, he loves killing. He loves.
I think Nemesis Prime is just really his true self finally coming out.
Yes, I agree with that, Mike.
Well,
it wasn't that hard
any
to
of
turn
the
it.
good programming.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny that essentially in the last movie, he's going, I'm going to go back to Cybertron and find our creators and tell them not to mess with Earth. And then he immediately, in space, like gets frozen and then lands back on Cybertron and immediately gets like controlled by Quintessa, the evil queen of Cybertron. So yeah, really successful mission there, Optimus.
Yeah, and as soon as she grabs him, he says, I'll kill you.
I will kill
Right,
you.
yeah.
She turns
First
him
thing he
evil.
says.
Yep.
Yeah, and then at the end, okay, there's a couple things I was confused by. Where did Megatron come from? And then the end,
Why is he not Galvatron? Yep.
Optimus is controlled, and then the thing that makes him normal again is all of a sudden Bumblebee speaks. But earlier in the movie, he got like a voice thing, but it was a woman's voice, and he's like, "Oh, I'm not a woman. I'm not going to use
This
that."
is not my voice. Why did you do this to me, Day Trader?
Yeah,
But then
Day
in the
Trader is a
end-
punk ass bitch. Yeah.
Yeah. But then at the end, he just starts speaking. So my question is, how did he start speaking again, and how did that turn Optimus normal again? None of that is explained ever.
Mm-mm.
I had
Or
so
the
many
fact
questions.
that he's like, I haven't heard your voice since Cybertron. And it's like, but you heard it like in 2007
Right,
when he
yeah.
wanted
4
to stay with
movies
the
ago.
boy.
This
Right.
was a very big plot point to us originally that we have been tracking normies in this. They have not mentioned B's voice box since the first movie, where it got fixed, and he could talk at the end of it. And then this one they go, and of course B, who can't talk.
Right.
Yeah.
And they established that they had a voice box, and he rips it out, and they never give him a
Right.
new one, and then he can
Right.
just talk.
And also the voice
Definitely.
box he gets, it's like the wrong voice, but can't you just like,
Modulate it.
fix it to change the voice sound?
Wait,
Like, that'd
wait, you
probably
think
be
these
pretty
guys
easy to
can
do.
just change whatever they want about themselves at any time? Get out of here.
Do some sort of transformations.
Like the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade out here, Jimmy J! You hired me from a want ad in the Dakota Penny Ledger. Think that comes with a superpower? That is a dinosaur, an alien dinosaur. That was not in the ad. It tried to eat me yesterday.
You want to go to federal prison?
No, I don't want to go to any prison.
Well, that's where you're going to go, okay? Because you're aiding and abetting. I'm a fugitive, all right? I'm the big boss. You're my little crimey.
When you leave, it becomes the wild kingdom out here. I don't know what to do.
I told you, this is a junkyard. They blend it with other junk. That's it.
You hired me to be senior vice president of worldwide operations.
Did I tell you that?
Yes, that's what you said.
Well, I made that shit up.
Do not take this title away from me, Cade.
Well, this is not a startup, okay? I don't do this shit for money. It's for the higher cause.
Hold on, I want to go back. So I want to talk about the Prime stuff. Mike, I am so 100% with you. Now, this is another one of those things where I keep making these mistakes where I'm like, oh, the thing in the second movie kind of reminds me of the space bridge. Then in the third movie, they're like, we're going to actually use the word space bridge for the MacGuffin. I'm like, oh, okay, that's weird. And then if you guys recall in the last one, I was like, oh, Galvatron's kind of like Nemesis Prime. And this one they go, well, we should probably use Nemesis Prime. And to me, that's Michael Bay, who gets told these things and then half listens and inserts them, and then they go, well, we don't really have more Transformers stuff we can do for the next one. We already used Nemesis Prime. And he goes, well, what's that word, Nemesis Prime? And he goes, oh, don't you remember? We had that conversation last movie about making... No, I'll just use the word this time. It doesn't matter. And he pulls the Fast and Furious 8. He's the evil Dom. He's turned on the family. But right. Mike, 10 minutes, if that. I'm with Jacob at the top. When this movie starts, I'm like, ooh, the cross-cutting's working for me. Everything they're setting up, like the Mark Wahlberg stuff. Okay, yeah, the government stuff. Okay. Ooh, floating in space. Probably not smart, you dumb fucking idiot. You went up there very unequipped, it looks like, and got frozen immediately. But, ooh, okay. Now we're setting him up to be the bad guy, and then he doesn't show up for a fucking hour.
That's true.
He doesn't do anything, and that's when we're spending all the time in the junkyard. We're getting our Suicide Squad intro. We're, hanging out with Dinobots and stuff, and then he shows up for one fight against Bumblebee. Hey, well, yeah, like Mark Wahlberg and then we're recovering the staff, and then Optimus shows up right at the end. Give me that, I'll kill you, and then he fights Bumblebee, and then he's fine. That's
and
two
it's the
scenes.
Same thing. It's the death in 2 where they kill him at the top and he reappears at the end. It's being in hiding in the last movie. There seems to be this staple of Optimus is simultaneously the most important Transformer. We must make sure to showcase him in this film, but also, he can't hold one of these movies, so don't cut him or use him that much. You just want to say, like, well, he could be the lead of one of these movies. He's an interesting character if you would allow him to be.
Well, we have Bumblebee. He's usually involved more with the humans, but Optimus, it's almost like he's so important that they only show him, briefly, so that it's more like the less is better because it makes his appearances more important. I don't know, but I kind of agree, it would be nice to see him more.
I think it's expensive to do any of the Transformers frequently, right? Obviously. And, this had a pretty big budget, and I just feel like this movie is most guilty of having the least Transformers action, it feels like minute to minute. Maybe, there's a lot of them in the junkyard, but the fighting, it feels
Mike,
too spaced out.
I am so into what you're saying. You are introduced in every scene, like you guys were saying about the humans characters. So many supporting characters where you're like, okay, wow, Drift is back and he looks different. That's cool. Oh my God, Hound looks different too. That's cool. Oh my God, Crosshairs looks different, and he's got like a ship he's riding. This is all going to be so important later. They're talking to each other. This is cool. Shit, the Dinobots are still in this equation? Okay, this thing is just getting bigger and bigger. Oh, who's this guy? The Day Trader? Wow, this is interesting. And then 40 minutes later, it's 3 humans on a submarine having a conversation for 15 minutes where you're just like, well, there were a lot of robot characters talking to each other at the top of this movie, and I would love to see more of that.
Yeah, I think that's what I mean. That's the problem, is that it's like 2 movies. Like the more interesting movie, I think, was the junkyard stuff. Like, you could have made a whole movie about Transformers on the run, hiding from the government, and all this stuff. That was kind of the last one too. Movie, but but it's still, I still think it's interesting. And then it's like they just kind of weld this whole Merlin, secret order plot onto the side of it that doesn't need it. Like, there's too much going on in this movie, and it's like it has enough plot for like 3 different movies.
Again, this sucks. It doesn't help anything. This is what I was thinking the entire time. And let me pitch you guys if this sounds better. And again, who fucking cares? It's not the movie we got. But the entire time I was watching, to what you guys say of, you can't do Autobots on the run again, that sucks. Okay, in the last movie, Autobots were on the run from human beings. In this one, the plot of the movie is that Decepticons are deputized by the government because they're looking for this end world MacGuffin. The Autobots aren't going to give it up. They think, well, the Decepticons can be the facilitators. We reluctantly have to give control to the bad guys. Now, from here, this whole movie can literally just be the stuff of, like we keep saying, the junkyard, of these 2 forces chasing each other. And if you don't want to do a repeat, because the Megatron story in this, which is non-existent, if you don't want to do a repeat of well, Megatron can't be the agent of Quintessa, quote unquote, on Earth, because if he is, that's him playing second fiddle to a third bad guy, Sigma Prime or whatever I keep calling him the wrong name, and the Fallen. It's like, absolutely.
Sentinel Prime.
But how much more interesting would it be if we do get the heel turn of Prime? Why wouldn't Megatron be working with him together, and you see the two of them, and he's almost like, comrade, brother, more, we will wipe out the Autobots. They're like working together and stuff like that. You don't get any of that stuff.
Yeah.
Well, and this is just like Optimus is working for Quintessa and then gets turned good again, and then Megatron, who's just kind of shows up, and then
he's doing his own
like,
thing.
oh, I'm working with Quintessa now. Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
But like, I think the beginning of this movie, Cade Yager's introduction is so cool, and then you have the setup with Josh Duhamel working for these, the government, basically the bad guys, and you have that great like meeting between Josh Duhamel and Mark Wahlberg where it's like, oh, you're Cade Yager, the infamous Transformer guy that's on the run. Like, I think there could have been a whole cool movie, and like Josh Duhamel is kind of conflicted about who he's working for, and there's that other guy that's like more evil in the group. I think that could have just been a movie by itself.
Yeah, and as much as I like seeing, Michael Bay's King Ghidorah in the beginning, this three-headed dragon, you could eject that whole plot device, and it's just, like you said, if you have Sentinel Prime and Megatron working together, because he's like, we were brothers once, right? Like, he says that, but to have that play out as they're on the same side for a little bit, and the threat is Sentinel and Megatron against our heroes. Like that, and Bumblebee's got to step up. And Cade, it's his buddy Optimus Prime. I found a Transformer, right? It's like, that is a much more interesting movie. It's just not here.
Yeah.
But we get stuff about a medallion, and a sword is made at one point off of a guy's arm, and truly, I'm just
climbs down his
out loud to myself, I have no idea what's going on.
Well, every movie, there has to be some kind of grand conspiracy to in the plot, just to make everything super confusing. But again, this is like totally ripped off. If you've seen the Da Vinci Code or read the books, like it's totally ripped off from the Da Vinci Code, where there's this secret society. But in the Da Vinci Code, the girl character in that is actually the last descendant of Jesus instead of Merlin.
Yep.
Sure.
So it's just like they took that and they're like, okay, let's make it dumber and with Transformers, and then it's just It's interesting, but also, I was doing some research. This is the movie, so they put together that writer's room to like flesh out the lore and the backstory of the Transformers universe. This is the first movie they made after putting together that writer's room. So that's why there's like way more plot in this one and like way more backstory.
Jacob, what does that mean? What are the Knights? Who is that original red guy who hands, drunk Stanley Tucci a toothpick? What did it mean that Optimus was a knight in the last movie?
Well, in Grimlock and the Dinos were knights, I thought, in the last one. So they should have. Were they even in the final battle scene? Like, I don't even remember, but
I don't think so. He rides the dragon because Optimus is gonna ride something if there's a beast in your movie. But I don't remember seeing them.
I don't remember them coming along.
There's the King. Yeah, there's the King Ghidorah. It's like 5 different ones that combine together, and then there's like the Decepticons, or like 5 Decepticons that make a giant like Infernicus.
The devil.
Decepticon. It looks like Smelter Demon from Dark Souls 2. If anyone gets that reference, please tweet me. But you know I'm right if you know what I'm talking about. But yeah, a lot of combining. But the other thing too is, it's like almost everything's done in service of almost a trailer, right? Like the dragon's in the movie, but not much more than he was in the trailer. The
Sentinel Nazi
Prime's
stuff,
in it.
not really in it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I did like that scene of Bumblebee just fucking up some Nazis, though. That was pretty,
who doesn't?
cool.
That's great. More of that, maybe. But yeah, everything in here is like just a piece for a trailer that looks great. And like even in Age of Extinction, the Dinobots weren't in it a lot, but they had like one fight that was decent, and then they kind of run into the final confrontation. This is just, what's something cool for the trailer? Dragon. Is it going to factor into the story? No.
Not
All
really.
right.
Yeah.
Great.
Right.
King Arthur battle. We're going to have one of those.
Swords are huge. And you're like, swords
we'll have a
are huge
prologue.
in this movie?
We'll have Cade Yager with a sword. But guess what? It's one time.
Obviously.
Yeah, and Optimus just has a sword now from the last movie, I guess. He just always uses it now.
And Optimus, my God, you can still fly. And yet you don't fly. You were just coming back from space, which you flew to. Fly us to the
one
objective,
time he's
please.
Flown. the one time he's flown in this whole series without the help of external pieces was at the end of the last movie where he flew off into space.
And froze. Maybe his jets froze, but it's like, yeah, the powers come out of nowhere. The continuity is mind-bending.
Speaking of continuity, too,
Yeah.
I just want to ask, did you guys have a problem with the switching aspect ratios like every shot?
Jacob, the
That was
close-ups on Wahlberg versus the wide shots of everybody else. I kept looking and I was like,
well, it was like,
so why are they making these more cinematic?
I'm pretty sure this was shot for IMAX 3D or something like that. So, but it's weird because it's not even scene to scene. It's literally shot to shot. Like it'll be a shot that's like full screen, like it's supposed to be IMAX, and then a reverse shot that's widescreen.
Yeah.
And then it just keeps going back and forth. And I was so confused why it was doing
I've never noticed it that much before.
If you look, you can't unsee it because specifically when I noticed it was when British lady and Mark Wahlberg were meeting each other at Anthony Hopkins' house, and the shot and reverse shots would go from widescreen to IMAX.
Yeah.
And what we figure happened is not all of the cameras were IMAX, but Michael Bay just said, "Fuck it, just shoot the shot, reverse shot, and we're not going to fix it. We're just not going to
so weird.
fix
You could
it
just
in post."
All over.
Yeah, you could just crop the full screen shots, and I mean, I guess it was framed a certain way, but I don't think you're going to lose that much of the framing in these kind of movies.
Yeah, just crop it and make it. That's
it's so weird.
Hugely. So when we talk about people not caring, like literally, you don't care if your shots match in a given scene.
Right. Yeah, I noticed in a couple scenes, like battle scenes, even the junkyard scene when they show up at the junkyard, it's like constantly switching. But
even when I was pulling clips, kind of for the video version of the show, like they would be in different aspect ratios, and I'm like, is this right? And it just depends on what the shot is. Yeah, it's some mistake.
Yeah. Great movie.
I guess can I segue then from that scene where it was noticed, because we haven't talked about our Sir Anthony Hopkins and Cogsworth's role in all this. There are other players here.
Magic does exist. It came on a crashed alien spaceship. And when you hear those as the first lines of your movie, and you have Academy Award winner Tony Hopkins.
Mm-hmm.
This is what I just want to say about Anthony Hopkins. This is totally like a phone-it-in type role, but he's still so good. Like, he's just such a good actor that even in this role, like, he's killing it. And, like, I thought he was great, just for he probably didn't even try that hard, but he's still just, like, so fun to watch.
Jacob, I don't even think he got paid. I think they contractually, how they compensated him was the scene where he's pushing people off of the submarine, and he keeps saying, "You fat idiot," and he's being, like, so cruel to those extras. I was like, oh, my God.
This museum is closed forever.
Yep.
Forever.
Yeah.
He's like giving the bird while he's getting away with Cogsworth. He's having a good time talking about robot dementia and all that.
I mean, he's been in other, bad stuff too, probably just for a paycheck. I mean, what great actor hasn't been, but it's just so funny to see him in this.
Well, they had Kelsey Grammer. They had
Frances McDormand.
Oh, that's them doing a fight off. I remember a story with Kenneth Branagh when he was directing the first Thor movie where he saw written on Anthony Hopkins' script NAR. And he said, "Sir Tony, can I ask you, what does that note mean?" He said, "Oh my God, are you kidding? I love scripts like these. I write NAR all over them." And they said, "What does NAR mean?" He said, "No acting required. I love parts where there's no acting required."
That's great.
So
but I mean, even in the scenes that he's
job.
in, like, he's still, like, fun to watch, and, like, he makes it interesting.
Yeah.
And, like, the scene where he like shows up at the Prime Minister's office, like, he's just, like, yelling at the Prime Minister. Like, I loved it.
Yeah, threatening them with the watch that killed Hitler. He's got an old transforming tank that's falling apart, and it fires at Cade Yager, who does not react.
No, he's a cane that they play the Transformer sound effect, and it turns into a gun at one point, and he shoots Megatron at Stonehenge and says, "You bastard."
And then he gets killed by Megatron, which is very sad.
And then he gets blown up.
Yeah.
But here's my question. So, Transformers, right? We've seen 5 movies of them. I still don't understand how they work, right? So they scan a car. They can scan any car and become that car. We see Hot Rod. He's originally an old Volkswagen or whatever, right? He sees the sports car, scans it, and then he turns into the sports car. And then when he transforms, he still looks like the sports car, right? So what would if he transformed before he turned into the sports car, what would he look like?
What would his other parts additively, compensate to? I have no
like
idea.
when they transform, they look like the car that they normally are, but they can transform into any car as long as they scan it.
Mm-hmm.
So it's never like made clear how that works.
In this movie, fucking Men in Black, a fucking space alien crashes his ship, and Cade Yager gets inside it, and he's talking to a little green man for a minute who's a robot. What the fuck is that thing?
Right.
Yeah.
Which part?
The one that
There's
Cade
a
Yager
part in the
gives him
beginning where
pendant.
the knight crashes, and they go, "Oh, he was actually an ancient technology, an older transformer."
I thought that was something from the last, like the bounty hunter ship on the last movie. Like he was a prisoner of the bounty hunter. I wasn't clear on that. Like I wasn't even clear where they are in the beginning in like that war-torn city. That's like the Transformer war-torn area.
A mortar went off.
And that girl, like she's orphaned by the War of Chicago, right? So then she's just living on the streets with, a Transformer. Very strange. I don't know.
I know somebody else who was orphaned and living with a robot.
Right. And the first thing we see in this movie is that Autobot that protects her, Canopy, getting brutally killed by, the government forces.
Yep.
So, way to start a movie.
Totally all over the place. The perfect character for totally all over the place is probably Cogsworth, because he is all over the place. Cogman.
Oh,
Although
Cogman.
Cogsworth is equally good name, I think. Yeah.
Isn't that the clock from Beauty and the Beast?
Oh yeah, that's the Beauty and the Beast. Yeah.
Who cares? So Cogman.
Can I tell you guys what Cogman is in the world of Transformers? I had to look this up.
Please do.
I had no idea. So a toy we have not touched on that is my favorite type of Transformer toy, because again, they break down into these different subcategories, right?
Mm-hmm.
There are these things called headmasters. Now, eventually, these motherfuckers got so big and so complex, other parts of them became Transformers. So headmasters in particular, their heads popped off, and they were little guys in suits, basically. You would unfold them, and they would look like little robots. When you would jam their heads into them when they transformed, stuff would pop out and open or whatever. Now, there was a cut scene in this. I found it on TransforMapedia, which, normies, I will super recommend to you guys, because it's a very funny Wikipedia where they make little jokes to themselves. It is they'll just do really silly things. I don't know, Mike. I love it.
I love it.
Where Cogman was going to cut off Sigma Zero. What was his name?
Oh,
Nitro Zeus.
Nitro Zeus. Sorry, he was going to cut off Nitro Zeus's head, climb up to him, install himself as the head, and take over his body essentially to pilot it and start killing other guys.
That would have been sick.
He should have an exoskeleton that he goes into to become a bigger thing.
Absolutely,
his head.
he should.
He totally should have that. Yeah. But what do we think about Cogman? He's
I hate him. He's the greatest character to ever grace cinema. He drives me crazy.
Well, the real question, if you had to have one in your life, would you have C-3PO or Cogman? Because
oh my god,
they're kind of
that's
the same.
A terrible question.
I think
Cogman is actually less
C-3PO wouldn't
annoying.
try to kill me though.
Right.
Guys, if you guys were one of these dumb things who turned into one of these things, what size would you want to be? Would you want to go all the way down to the wheelie style, the squeak, sort of the halfway, the size of a person style, or would you want to be one of these things that are fucking 10 stories tall?
I would want to be Mohawk, the Decepticon.
I would want to be Mohawk too, because he's the in-between. Yes,
yeah,
it's Jacob.
Mohawk, he's a human size.
There's something, when I first saw him, I was like, Mohawk is my spirit animal, and he might be my favorite Transformer.
And here's the thing, when you first see him, and then you second see him, and then you don't see him ever again.
Well, he dies doesn't he die when they attack the junkyard?
The deserted town or whatever? Yeah,
I think he dies in that scene.
Was he a motorcycle?
At the end.
He climbs on stuff. He's like a climby boy. I loved him.
Yeah, motorcycle. Yeah, he was all spindly. Yeah, he was.
It's like a lizard.
Yeah, he was iconic. He had a look and a personality, which is more than 99% of Decepticons up to this point.
Do you guys have a favorite standout after 5 movies? I know we were talking about Jetfire in the last couple. I'm so far away from liking those early ones. I think Hound might still be my favorite after everything's said and done. He's so distinct.
Yeah, the Hound was my front runner in the last movie. He cut down significantly on calling people bitches, which is nice.
Yeah.
So
thank God.
And he has one of my favorite line in the movie is when the girl Izzy Ray says, "I want to come help with the final battle against Ragnarok." You know, it's like very dangerous, and Hound's just like, "I'm no Earth parent. Come on, yeah, I'm no Earth parent. Come along." You know, it's like, that's cool. So I like
the trio of Hound, Drift, and Crosshairs. I'm glad they brought them back. And then I like the Steve Buscemi bot that just comes along, the Trader bot, which is like, why is he even in the movie? Because he doesn't really do anything. He brings them Starscream's head. But
which got blown
him
up,
and John Goodman. Which goes into my theory of the Big Lebowski. Him and Hound, John Goodman bot, have lines together, and I was like, this is crazy.
They almost look like siblings. I was so into what you were saying.
Yeah, like the same style of so very interesting. But it's like
I would say the Yager era main Autobots are better than the Witwicky era with Ironhide and Ratchet. Like, save Bumblebee because he's the carryover.
I don't miss Ironhide. I don't miss any of this.
Ratchet was killed in front of us. Very sad. But
Ratchet. I didn't say this at the time.
Get out of here.
Ratchet had the death of a pedophile. Ratchet had the death of what you would do to Freddy Krueger. The way he was like running from a town of people and saying, "No, please, it's me. It's your buddy Ratchet. I didn't mean to hurt that girl. What are you? Oh no." Right. He was like begging with everyone. I was glad they killed him.
That's also like a war crime to kill a medic. I think that's like against the Geneva
Conventions. Yeah,
but
it's just me, Freddy.
The three main secondary Autobots in this are way better than any other Autobots except for Optimus Prime and Bumblebee. Basically.
Yeah, and Jetfire was a fun, I think, side character, but he wasn't a main. A day player, shall we say?
He's just so wild compared to these other ones. He stands out, but it's just, you guys are right. It's not my favorite style. Even though we have leaned more into the human faces, shinier, more metallic. I don't know. This second era is still, it just has so many great standouts.
Yeah, I mean, even they're more distinct, and they have cool personalities that are less offensive than in the previous iteration. We don't have Mudflap and Skids anymore. Thank God.
No.
Yeah, Mudflap and Skids are your favorite, Jacob.
No way. But we do get a new one in this one, Hot Rod, who has like a French accent, and they're like, "Is he French?" At one point, and they're like, he's like, "No, he just likes the accent." Yeah. So I thought that was interesting.
But he has a time gun, which is awesome.
Yeah,
but why doesn't
understand
anyone
that time
else have that?
There's one point where they used it, and then Hound shoots like a bunch of bullets at Megatron, and they use the time gun to like slow them, and then all of a sudden they all hit Megatron. I thought that was interesting, but
kind of saves the heroes when they're falling.
Yeah. A lot of big ideas, a lot of just stuff happening in this movie.
Well, that's why I think so much is packed into this one, because it was that whole 14-person writer room that's like expanding the lore. So there's like so much exposition and stuff in this one, but it's like they try to cram too much in.
But Jacob, can you imagine being the guy and you're like, and I got the Day Trader in. I'm one of the 14 guys who came up with the character, the Day Trader, but I got him in there. Like,
good Master, he's a complete knucklehead.
I'm awfully sorry about that, but you see, he thinks it's still the year 1918 or 1914, something like that, isn't it? I mean, it's late onset of robot dementia. Not at all pretty.
Yeah. I don't know what you're smoking in that pipe, man, but what's going on here? Will you drag me to some Transformer retirement home? Mm-hmm. Look, somebody better start talking or I'm out of here.
It's not, here's the issue. Because we said it's the same era of the Marvel stuff. Now, you're going to go, Normies. Colin, it's so dumb that you say this movie's long at 2.5 hours. There's a lot of Avenger movies that are that time length or longer. Right. Yes, the reason that they feel shorter is, and it's almost an insult, I'll ride with you. They are so basic in their plotting, I never feel lost or confused. When this film goes from, like I keep saying, 2 sets of heroes underwater for so many beats of action, to come up to do more beats of action, to set up a final action set piece where then everybody's on helicopters landing on other terrain that I don't even understand. Like, by the end of it, the scope-wise, you get it from Michael Bay's perspective of, well, what, you want me to make a small and intimate movie? These things only make $1 billion at this point. I have to go bigger, 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 bigger. But I'm not asking for that adrenaline. I'm asking to understand what I'm watching. and we keep bringing it up, Jacob, but what we're watching is a Frankenstein. We're watching something that has no idea what it is because it's so many things.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Well, it's like if you compare it to like Infinity War, that movie's really long, but there's like a ton of different characters, like that's all set up by previous Marvel movies. There's a lot more to show. So you're never like feel like the movie's dragging because it has so much different stuff to cover. Whereas this one, it's mainly, Mark Wahlberg and the British lady, in the second half of it. I feel like that's when it started to drag. You're right, like when they get on the submarine and it's not really clear all the time what's going on and stuff. So yeah, I just feel like, I don't think movies should not, always be 2 hours at most. I think there are good long movies. I just think a movie, if it's over 2.5 hours, it has to kind of justify the length.
Yeah. Fight for what you're putting in there.
Yeah, and
I don't feel like any of these Transformers movies justify their length.
No, I think you're right. I think every single one of these movies has scenes and sequences that could be completely removed, and they say, editing for cinema, it's killing your babies, learning to kill your babies. We film this sequence, you care about it, but does it work in the context of the film? Does it drive the story forward? There's a lot of stories, like even the junkyard scene, you could cut that down to like 3 minutes instead of 20 minutes, and it would accomplish the same kind of goal as far as getting Cade Yager. You got to go to England. Okay, I don't even need to meet this girl or talk to Grimlock. Just tell me I need to go to England, and instead of taking an hour to get to that point.
Right, and that's why. Sorry.
Yeah.
There's 5 points in this movie where Anthony Hopkins, and God love him because I'm sure he was very happy to get this paycheck and they want to use him, but just pontificates what's happening to no one, but drives to other locations to do these things. And as an audience member, I'm like, what the fuck are we doing?
Even being on the phone with Totoro, we like him, but all those conversations where it's like, I know the secret of the thing. It's like, we don't need that. We just need to know that Anthony Hopkins knows the shit's in the library. Like, you can cut all of that stuff, but so yeah,
right. I guess do
it's
not
nice justify
to
their length. Yeah.
To bring John Turturro back a little bit, he's kind of I don't know if he's a fan favorite, but
he's one of our fan favorites.
He was in the originals, yeah.
But
he's the only. Him and Josh Duhamel are both in 4 out of the 5 movies. I think
4 out of the 5. That's right.
In that many,
which is the most. Yeah, besides the robots, no one's been in 5 out of 5.
Yeah.
Correct?
But I agree with you about the the junkyard stuff. That's why I kind of thought it would be more important in the movie because they do spend so much time there in the beginning, and then they set up this Isabella character like she's going to be important, and then she just disappears for like most of the second half, and then she shows up at the end, kind of sneaks onto the helicopter that she's not supposed to be on or whatever, and then she's just there. But it's like, why is she like? There's really no reason for her to even be in this movie. Like, if you're gonna, you can make a movie about her story. Like that would probably, you can make a whole movie that way. But it just feels like she has no purpose in this movie.
Yeah, and the little robot, Squeaks, it does something in the end battle, but it's like you could also just not have that, and it's fine. Yeah. I'm not gonna miss it, right? So they try to.
Yeah.
We're pretending like there's an arc when all we had was like 3 scenes, right? And that's the problem. None of these characters have a presence throughout the film.
And you say that, you say they're like Ray and BB-8. That guy also like Wally. He's basically Wally.
That's
right?
true.
Yes.
And I did like his design. I love that.
Yeah.
Because J.J. Abrams was going practical for the 4th. BB-8 was practical. Michael Bay's like, I want a practical.
But at the same time, he doesn't look like any Transformers that we've seen. Like he's like a totally different species.
True, but so is Wheelie is a different species too.
So are the dinosaur babies. I don't understand any of these monsters anymore.
Dino babies.
Yeah, who knows?
One thing I do want to shout out though, like the Transformer lacking aside, I like Mark Wahlberg's performance in this, and like the final action scene after Optimus Prime decapitates 12 robots at once, and we're getting the final fight. It's very exciting when the debris is falling and they're inside the room that's tipping and falling over and they're sliding down things. Like,
yeah,
it was really cool to see. Like when Michael Bay is on with his like visual spectacle, it's like pretty exciting. And I was like engaged during kind of the more human moments when Mark Wahlberg and the British lady are sliding down and they have to reach the staff and they're getting stopped in a time bubble. That was good to me.
Yeah, I thought the whole, the helicopters like crashing and then all the army guys like I thought that whole battle was pretty well done compared to some earlier battles in the series. Like I think they really kind of nailed the war feel of it. The soldiers kind of under fire and stuff. Like I really like that stuff. And then with them going into the room and everything, I thought that was all really good.
Yeah, I mean, you get the JPL guy, Tony Hale. He wants him to like knock it off its moorings. Tony
Hale is just in the background of this movie.
He's literally called JPL engineer. Like they didn't even give him a name.
Hilarious.
Right. Got to use science.
It's the worst idea you could ever have. Yeah. Again,
which at one point, so when Cybertron like comes to Earth, it cuts the moon in half, right? And it's like
game over.
Even if they, survive this attack, like doesn't that like fuck up the environment? Like doesn't that mess with the tides and stuff if the moon is cut in half? Like I think that would have some big ramifications on us.
The ecosystem would not recover, I think, from that.
We need the Transformers to fix the moon.
Yeah, that's
Dark of the moon.
Construction site. Let's go. Let's fix the moon here.
Well, there's a little callback where you see like the ship from Dark of the Moon, right? The Sentinel.
Well, they
ship.
show the pyramids. They show Hong Kong again. It's like I'm wondering if they're just like, we got some plates that we filmed before, some old CG. Yeah, just use those. It's cheaper.
Surely they know this is it, right? Like regardless, Michael wants 6 Transformer movies on his docket.
Well, you think
5,
they know?
Who knows?
But then they do a tease for Unicron. So it's like, this is going to be the end of it. But then you set up a sequel like more explicitly than any of the other ones have.
And once again, Mike, I keep saying the cribbing that they do of using stuff and then setting it up for later, using stuff and then setting it up for later. A planet comes to Earth and tries to swallow our planet. It's Cybertron, but that is Unicron's MO. Whatever they're doing at the end of this movie where they're like, actually Unicron was the Earth and, it's setting up for the next one where we'll all fight him somehow even though he's the planet, so he'll be like a mouth that comes out and like Optimus will punch it or whatever. Like that is nonsense. That would make no sense.
I think they kind of, it could go either way because they leave it open-ended, like they show Quintessa is like disguised as a human at the end, but they also kind of wrap it up in a way where that could be, the finale with all the Autobots going back to Cybertron or whatever. So it feels like it both could be a conclusion or a continuation depending on how the box office turned out.
Well, all the Autobots are coming to Earth because, homie Prime was like, this is the one planet I've ever called home, and now we're safe. Everybody come home. And we're bringing all the Autobots back to the planet.
He was saying all the Autobots are going to leave Earth and go back to Cybertron to like rebuild it.
I could be totally wrong because my brain was coming out of my ear by the end of this.
At that point, I just saw static.
You're going to have to tweet me.
I mean, it's got to end on some kind of generic, motivational speech by Optimus and then not a Linkin Park song anymore, but we wish it was.
Jacob, how is it not Imagine Dragons? This one has a dragon in it.
Oh, you're right.
This one was by Ex-Ambassadors, and it was just called Transformer, I think. So yeah, it was great.
Yeah, no, not a good needle drop. Just give me more Linkin Park. This would have been my favorite one, maybe, even though it's bad. Anything else before I do final thoughts? I just want to throw a couple notes. Again, the strongest thing is Cade Yager. I like Mark Wahlberg. I would have seen a 6th one of these with him.
Yes, I would have too.
And stripping him of his family made him stronger and more entertaining. Just letting him be him, And this thing where there's a split between the Witwiccan era and the Yager era, if you act like 4 and 5 are sequels to 1, where there's one universe where the Transformers work with the government and a second universe where they're chased by the government because they're not trusted.
Yeah.
I like the second version better with Cade Yager, and are they perfect? No, they're pretty boring. Do I want to watch them again? I don't know, but
Mike, it's the moments where they make him, such the hero where you do feel Mark Wahlberg sort of bleeding through that I am at the lowest, where literally Optimus turns to him and says, "They're about to execute me, Cade Yager," and he's like, "I've got the Force," and he produces a lightsaber from his arm and somehow stops the power of a Transformer swinging a sword, that's the size of
he's seen his biceps.
When you guys started watching this movie, Did you think that the titular last night was going to be Mark Wahlberg?
Jacob, I almost said that at the top because we should talk about the title. I almost said at the top, would you have ever guessed? Normies, we're here to answer it for you. Cade Yager is, of course, the last night. Now,
no,
why? No idea.
Yeah, I assumed that Optimus Prime was the last night.
Right.
Because that's what they said in the last movie, I thought.
It's all you mean what we were told that he was such?
Yeah. But I guess, he was chosen because he's honorable and also he doesn't have sex.
It's just, again, guys, you keep talking about the writer's room, Jacob. The idea that they would go, okay, well, slow down. We really got to plot these out. Let's start planting these seeds. Let's put in some medieval stuff. That's the avenue we're going to go towards.
Right,
You must get the idea that,
oh, yeah.
He had a whole book, Michael Bay, that was conspiracy theories, and he's to each one he just adds Transformers and he's like Transformers
totally.
Bigfoot. No, that's not gonna work.
Ancient
okay,
aliens.
Transformers and Ancient Aliens. That's a good idea.
Yeah.
We'll circle that one. Okay, and the Bermuda Triangle. No, X that one out too.
Right.
There's nothing to me.
Good.
Why medieval? I hate it. I hate that this is where
I'll
it
tell you, Colin,
ended.
because it's truly, like I said, the Da Vinci Code, Knights Templar, Illuminati has been kind of a conspiracy thing for a long time. Freemasons, it's all kind of the same thing, or just different names for the same thing. But so I think it was a good idea to do that because it's you've done all these other conspiracy theories, might as well throw the Freemasons in there too.
Well, if I can throw a conspiracy theory out at you, I think Michael Bay goes into the writer's room. He's got his 13 Knights of the Round Table. Michael Bay's at the head of it, right? And he says, I want to put a dragon robot, so figure out how to make that.
That
is
is
what nerd explanation for why there would be a dragon robot. Yeah,
and one's a demon.
Medieval
They're
day.
what kind of demon? And he's like, no. When it gets hit, it'll turn into 6 little demons. And you're like, well, Michael, slow down. You're going too fast.
Yeah, right. And I need 10 decapitations.
Yeah,
right.
Of course.
So I think he just wanted a
again,
dragon.
it's
Someone, medieval, I guess, tie-in, Freemason. Okay.
Yeah. But it's truly, this movie just feels like just an amalgamation of everything that's been popular in the last, 15 or 10 years. You've got Game of Thrones medieval stuff. You've got the Suicide Squad introductions. You've got Rey. You've got, Star Wars. You've got all these different
bringing
things.
the team
Avengers.
on your left, right?
I like everything you're saying. It just does not work together.
Yeah.
Not when you get, it's like a tapas plate. You're getting just a little morsel. You're not getting a whole dish of any of these things, right? You're not getting full off them, and at the end you're just kind of unsatisfied. I've eaten 15 different flavors, but I'm still hungry.
Right. And even I don't know if you guys have seen the Da Vinci Code movies with Tom Hanks, but I'm telling you, I think Michael Bay watched the Da Vinci Code before making this movie and was like, let's just steal a bunch of this and put it in here. But
I'll do you one better. I think this is how most of his decisions are made. I bet he was up to direct the second one, and Michael Bay had a couple, treatments that he did to go this is what I want to include. And then when that falls through, he's putting that one in the bin to use later, and he just pops it out.
The only thing I think they should have done to make this even better was involve the Holy Grail somehow, and make it like an ancient Cybertronian relic that.
Are you saying? Hold on. See, are you saying if I drink this, I'm gonna live forever, you old Knights Templar that I found in the basement of this Transformer? It's literally like the ending of Last Crusade that they just let Mark Wahlberg play out. I would love that.
That'd be great.
Don't pick the wrong cup.
He's literally robot Jesus at that point.
I would love it.
Oh, it's like if you had to pick the cup from the scene in Indiana Jones, but one just has the Autobots insignia on it. It's
I was gonna say, but one turns into a little animal as it skitters away.
Yeah.
I think that was the Transformer.
Oh man, that's another dumb moment. They open up Merlin's tomb and they're like, he's just got a regular stick, and it's like, you don't think that's gonna be a transforming stick?
Of course,
he throws it away. He's like, it's just a dumb stick.
Just let the girl.
What are we doing down here?
He came all this way for this?
He flips out, but if she would have just touched it, it would have immediately transformed. But it doesn't matter because they just give it right to Optimus because I will kill you. And then Cade says, give him the stick. And then Megatron takes it.
Speaking of Merlin, I do like Stanley Tucci as Merlin in the beginning of this, where he's just like a drunk guy who's like, I need your Transformer stuff.
It's like you get the battle scene in Game of Thrones, you're like, dang, this is epic. And then the tone is immediately Michael Bay when he's like, one more nip. I'm gonna keep drinking.
Right.
It's like, okay.
And he's like,
I just, because you just say Game of Thrones. Keep saying pop culture stuff, guys, because everything you're bringing up, I'm realizing more and more is why it's in this movie. It's like Game of Thrones was popular at the time. Well, we got to put some Game of Thrones in it. Well, Ray and BB-8. It's like, whoa, yeah, we can get Ray and BB-8 in there. Like, it is crazy.
It is wild. Probably the Bourne Identity a little bit too, or the Bourne series maybe going on.
If these things had kept going, 100%, let me tell you right now, Cade Yager would have put an Iron Man suit on in the next one. He would have had a Transformium suit. It would have been like, so Optimus, you're telling me if I do this? Whoa! And he would just be flying through the air, shooting lasers, and I would be here for it.
Now that he's a knight, and even Bumblebee can disassemble and come back together like Iron Man 3.
Best action sequence of the movie.
That was
absolute banger, Mike. Loved that scene.
It was a copy of another movie, but it was well done.
Wow.
Michael Bay's gonna Michael Bay. He did say at this press conference or something, or an interview, he's like, literally, even if people complain about these, they're still gonna go see them. So he's like, I don't care what you think about me or my movies. I'm
don't
getting
like
paid.
that smugness.
But we do see that he's
painful.
learning learning from some things in the past movies, like making his, movies less, sexually exploitative, that kind of thing.
Less
So he's
racial
getting a little
stereotypes.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is the most tame as far as those things, I think, of all of them. Right.
Yeah, because the only thing I don't like is that they did force the romantic relationship between Cade Yager and the British lady. Cause does that really need you could just have two main characters without them being romantic.
But every romance in
had
these
to
is
shoehorn that
forced.
in there.
So I mean,
Jacob,
yeah.
Can I solve something for you? Doesn't it make a million more narrative sense to make the little girl the descendant of Merlin if you're going to even include all these people in this story anyways? Just have them all end up in England together. He doesn't need to bang her because she's a kid. She's 14 years old.
Lady, yeah.
Right. But why would, I
stuff.
guess why would she be a descendant of Merlin if she's from America, though?
And, people
come
move.
on.
Come on.
Yeah. No, I agree. And by the way, we should mention, British lady, I forget her name, I'm sorry, but played by Laura Haddock, who's mostly known for being Peter Quill's mom in the Guardians of the Galaxy.
You're kidding. I did not put that together.
Nice.
So that's her most known role outside of this movie.
Wow. Well, I mean, it's probably for the best. I don't know. I don't think I would want to be a part of this. Again, this is the least offensive Michael Bay Transformers movie, so that's got to count for something. If we don't have anything else to cover here, maybe it's a good time to jump into our final thoughts, and then we'll rate
one
these
other
as well after Jacob's last little note.
Yeah. One other little reference I wanted to mention. In the beginning of the movie, we get a little Stand By Me group of kids, right? And they say, you want to see a dead Transformer? And then they go look for a dead Transformer. So that's a little Stand By Me reference.
Basketball is my girlfriend, Jacob.
Nice.
That's what that kid's shirt says.
Oh, wow.
Nice.
Good catch. All right, well, we'll catch you on the other side of this. Final thoughts.
What am I doing here?
Yeah, why is she here?
Introductions. Miss Vivian Wembley, Master of History, Oxford, Doctor of Philosophy, also Oxford, and Doctor of Letters, again, Oxford, I think. Anything else? Anyway, meet Cade.
Yager. Cade Yager. I'm an inventor.
Oh, you're an inventor.
Yes, I am.
What have you invented?
A lot of things.
Like?
Like a lot of things. Like things that you've heard of.
Like?
Well, things that you will have heard of, okay? Patents are pending.
Ah.
Ah. Don't say it. What's ah? I could do that too. Oh, I'm English and I'm too cool for feelings. What, I've come here to be insulted by some overeducated Ivy Tower princess in a stripper dress?
Stripper?
Oh, only in America is a finer education an insult. And if my dress makes you feel uncomfortable, then maybe I could take it off.
Okay.
Oh, affection! What's your problem? No!
We're back. Don't roll out yet. We're talking our final thoughts here on Transformers, the fifth Michael Bay film, the final Michael Bay film, Transformers: The Last Night. In my opinion, I'm sorry, normies. It kind of feels like we're limping to the end here. It's not that this is such a dour note to end on. Like we said, I actually think there's some really good stuff inside this film. It's just we have become, in my opinion, I don't want to talk for you two, so hyper aware of the Bayism of it all that I just feel like when I watch these now, there's a certain numbness that takes over to me of, okay, when's the slow-mo going to start? Okay, this looks cool. Here it comes. Okay, what named Transformers am I getting in this one? Okay, here's 2 or 3. Okay, yeah, no, I'm liking how they look in this one. You know, we're just approaching it so clinically now. I did enjoy this one. You know, I'll ask you both this before our final thoughts, but I asked Adam last week, our guest, check out the Age of Extinction episode and check out the Cargo Bay. We love him there. If he would ever watch this movie again or even like within the next year, I think this one, The Last Night, you buy this one on Blu-ray, you throw it on your TV, you mute it, we're at a party, Jacob, you're having some drinks and a girl says, well, what is this Mark Wahlberg movie where everybody's upside down and he appears to have a sword? You know, and you're laughing. Like, I think this is one you could have on. It looks good.
Yeah, I think, I mean, to me, it's the most watchable. It's the most entertaining. So, you know, I would say to Adam, if he's listening, you should watch this one because I would actually say it's the best of the Michael Bay Transformer movies. I'll stand by that.
That's wild.
I mean,
you think it's better than number 1?
I think so. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, we're gonna have to get a full. We'll do full rankings at the end. I'm not there yet. I still think this is the first, but I do think it's probably the second strongest. So we'll see when I get around to that.
Interesting.
I think with. Yeah. Sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, I'm just saying. Like I said right before the transition, this is the least offensive of them, which means Michael Bay is kind of reeled back on the things that most people find abrasive, including myself. So you're kind of left with what he's good at, which is large-scale action, and he's had 5 attempts at it, so it's gotten a lot better. And like the World War II set piece, awesome. The Bumblebee being separated set piece, awesome. Like the final battle is pretty good. So when Michael Bay is able to do what Michael Bay does, it's impressive. He's got an eye for spectacle. It's just when that other stuff starts to overtake the movie as a whole that they get kind of painful. This wasn't painful. It was long and a little confusing, but I was not in as much pain as I have been for the other, Transformers movies.
I think, it's close. I think this one, it wouldn't work as the first movie in the series. So I think Transformers 1 had to come out, for the rest of these movies to happen. But I think just something about, firing this movie up, Cade Yager's introduction, seeing all my old Autobot friends, I just, again, maybe it's the Stockholm syndrome, but I'm just growing, it's growing on me in a way that I can't explain.
Gun to my head, like I have a weird, morbid fascination now with watching them in the 1, 4, 5 order. I don't think I should do that in the next 5 years.
It's true because I don't think 2 and 3, you could totally just lose those and you wouldn't lose anything in the overarching mythos of the Transformers series. And the mostly 3, I mean, all of 3 is pretty much happens again in 5. So it's like the entire point of 3 is purposeless, basically. Right?
Yeah.
Yes. 2, and 2 for not having a script. I went back and listened to some of our previous episodes. I was so complimentary in that episode about how toyetic it was, how close it was to the animated series. Now, it almost feels quaint, right? It's just grown and grown and grown so much to its own thing. I still hold it in regard. It's really that script that's just fucking holding it down. It's maybe even, I feel like maybe even 1 is just sinking so much further because it just seems so small compared to the rest of these movies.
Yeah, I think for me, 2 is easily the worst one. I think the Fallen is the worst villain and worst kind of MacGuffin setup to the plot.
Right. Well, I want to get to the rankings, but I have 2 things I want to cover. First of all, there's a YouTuber, somewhat controversial, is Doug Walker channel, awesome, the Nostalgia Critic. He did do a review of this without watching it, and he said, here's what's going to happen.
Oh, wow.
If they're really desperate, they'll bring back Josh Duhamel, John Turturro, and Stanley Tucci. And if they're super desperate, you might get a Shia LaBeouf cameo. He's like, there's going to be something on the moon. There's going to be an ancient prophecy. He literally called everything that was going to happen, and it all happened in this film.
Sure.
They're formulaic, is what I'm saying. And to talk the timeline of skipping 2 and 3, I think there is a perfect universe. And in this alternate universe, there's a Transformers series that started with Transformers 1 that focuses on Megan Fox's Michaela, whose father
Yes.
is Cade Yager.
Cade Yager.
But he's a mechanic
Yes,
instead
Mike,
of an
keep
inventor.
going, yes.
And that is our
Yeah,
series.
they could have just made replaced
replaced
his daughter with Michaela, and I think that would have totally worked.
Yeah, and like that's the relationship.
And then
Michaela,
she
you going
meets
out with the football guy. Is he
Sam
being a jerk?
He's in
Witwicky.
best. He just got out of the joint. It makes sense.
Right.
You could actually combine them and have Sam Witwicky be the boyfriend character from the last movie.
Oh, and he hates Sam
have-
Witwicky.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's such
They
a
could
better
just-
series.
That could be a great ensemble. One thing I want to mention, we've talked about our Fast and the Furious crossover idea with the
Transfurious,
Transformers,
yep.
right? I would bring Cade Yager back in the
Yes.
Fast and the Furious movies with
Yeah.
Transformers. He's got to interact with the
Can I ask
family.
you guys this?
Mm-hmm.
There's been some other talk with Universal stuff. Now, this was a Paramount we talked about, so it has to cross over with other Paramount. We don't care. We're crossing it over with Fast and the Furious. There's been talk that they want to cross over Fast and the Furious with the Jurassic World franchise.
I heard about that. Yeah.
Guys, we've got Dinobots in this thing. Grimlock goes up against a real T-Rex. Let's get some more real dinosaurs in this thing.
Oh man.
I guess you bring Chris Pratt's character from Jurassic World with Cade Yager with the Fast
Cade
and the
Yager,
Furious.
with Tyrese from Fast and the Furious. They all come together, Jacob.
Right.
Was Tyrese in this one? I think he
He was not.
parachuted with No, he's
There
getting
was
out
a
of
guy
here.
that looked like him that I thought was
Yeah.
him for a second, but it's
Very
just a
close.
different guy.
I wasn't on Tyrese watch this time,
Yeah.
but yeah, combine all these universes if they're going to be dumb, because at a certain point, that's what Fast and Furious did after like Fast 5. It turned a corner where it's like, we're going to be dumb, but it's not like
Right.
Transformers dumb. Like, they're kind of endearing. These are still some, as a franchise, I guess is our last one, and I'll kind of throw my rankings out there first, let's say. I still stand by it being the worst major film franchise. I am probably Stockholm syndromed by Mark Wahlberg's abs or something. But again, the order would be for quality for me is 1, 5, 4, 3, 2. And that's kind of where
1, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Yeah, and I would only ever watch them again in 1, 4, 5 order, like to see if that worked. But that's not going to happen anytime soon, I think. So yeah, 1, 5, 4, 3, 2.
Again, I apologize for interrupting you. I was thinking about this the entire time. Normies. Mike here made the awesome Godzilla versus Kong cut that took out all the stuff we didn't like.
Mm-hmm.
Mike, is there any chance you're going to make an awesome Transformer movie that just takes out all the shit we do not like?
The thing is, I could try that. What I would really want to do is just use a computer and deep fakes to get Mark Wahlberg to be Michaela's dad and just redo the whole thing. But
Yeah,
we'll see.
that would have made so much sense.
Hindsight,
For
yeah.
me, I think if I was going to rank them, so my problem with 1 is I think it's a good introduction to the series. Good in the sense for, in the context of this series. But it seems so much more small stakes compared to some of the other movies where it's like world-ending consequences, whereas this one, the first one just feels so kind of old-fashioned in that way, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, think about, that movie came out in 2007. The 5th movie came out in 2017. So that's a decade apart.
Jesus Christ.
A lot
Yeah.
changed. But I guess I would still probably put 1. I'll put it at the top just because it was a good introduction.
The OG.
Yeah, and then I would say 5, 4, 3, 2. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
1, 5, 4, 3, 2. And I think for the
I think that's
time
the
that it was
definitive
made,
ranking.
we were very impressed by the first one, even the effects too. And so to think of it being a decade older
Yeah.
than this one, it does get some points, I think.
I mean, is The Last Night have better effects than the first one? I think probably, but it's, a decade newer, so it makes sense. I think for 2007, the first movie had really good effects, especially for the time period.
It's more impressive grading on a scale, I think. Yeah, for sure. Colin, how about you?
Yeah.
You guys like Quintessa more than Lockdown?
Oh, man.
I think Lockdown was a cool character because he was just kind of outside the whole, Autobots versus Decepticons. He was kind of just outside of it.
Colin, you're killing me, actually.
There's
because-
no good bad guy, Mike, for this most recent movie. Number 4 to me just is like a perfect film. And I know that now we've got the distance on it. And literally in the last episode, all 3 of us said we couldn't remember anything that happened in this movie. But now I'm like, it was ideal. I don't know, Mike.
For me, what brings 4 down is the dynamic between Cade Yager, his daughter, and the boyfriend. I think that's why he's better in this movie.
Right.
If his daughter was Michaela the whole time, I think it would have been much better. Michael Bay, you should hire us to remake the Transformers movies, but we'll make it very similar to the original movies, but we'll change small details like that.
Yeah.
So hire us.
Colin, you make a compelling argument, and I said last time that 4 was my favorite besides the first one. And it comes down to Cade Yager. Cade Yager is much stronger in 5. But the Transformers and the villains, like, I like Galvatron, even though he's in it for 5 minutes. I like Lockdown a lot. I like the Battle of Hong Kong. I like the Hound, right? There's a lot of things that I enjoy. The Dinobots are
the new
fucking
formers.
awesome. Yeah.
Well, I like Megatron's design in this more than Galvatron in the last one, and they're basically the same character, right? Yeah, just from a design point of view.
I almost want to go back and do a 1, 4, 5, 3, 2. It's just because there's less weird Michael Bay-ness in the 5th one. Again, it's less abrasive. So if you're able to kind of take that on the chin, 4 is better. But if that stuff really annoys you, 5 would get the edge. I think that's where the line is drawn, right? How much tolerance do you have for Michael Bay bullshit? If you have a little bit more, 4 is probably the second best film.
Right.
Yeah.
We pretty much all agree that 5 and 4 are better than 3 and 2.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll say it one more time.
And 2 is
cut them
dog
all
shit.
out. And if Mike makes a movie called The Night of Extinction that combines 4 and 5 together, takes out the scene with the Juliet laws, I'm telling you guys, we got a fucking stew on our hands. Like, we've got a good fucking movie on our hands.
The Night of Extinction. That has got a ring to it. You know what?
You make a whole web video on it, Mike, about what worked, what didn't. I think you should do that for Kong, too. I would love to watch one of your breakdowns on how you made that thing work a little better.
That is in the works for sure.
Here we are. I'm sticking with you guys. You've turned me around. 1 is staying up there.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, it feels small and quaint. It is the OG. It should scale back. We're going to talk about it. We'll announce right now. We were so into these films. Normies, we are going to be talking about Bumblebee next week. Special guest. Right. We're very, very excited.
Finally a good one.
Number 1 and Bumblebee are spiritual twins. They are both these tiny films. I want to see how it's going to work a little better with the human characters more in the light than I would want them to be.
Mm-hmm. Colin, I'm right there with you because I was going to say, Bumblebee, which I have seen before, and I know that it's a good movie. It's like an actual good movie with Transformers in it. And it is in the same movie as the first Transformer movie. Just the main, human character is gender flipped, but it's like a better version of the first movie in a way. So I'm looking forward to that for sure.
We got our blinders off now. It's not going to feel like a Bay film. It's going to stand on its own. Number 1, then I'm going number 4. I can look past all that stuff. Mm-hmm. I had such a good time watching that with you guys and laughing. Yeah. Even though, followed by number 5, I think it is the most rewatchable, number 3, and then number 2. We're close. We've all got number 2 at the bottom and number 1 at the top. And that's shocking for these 5 movies. I did not think that's where we'd end.
The Romeo and Juliet and Tim Miller is a real hard knock against number 4. But
yes, get those out. I'm telling you, man. We can
fast forward it. Yeah.
Yeah, the only disagreement we have is between 5 and 4, the ranking. Everything else is the same. So
it's really going to be personal taste. But yeah, I think that's pretty definitive overall. Thoughts in general on these series? Again, I think we've covered it. I mean, 4 and 5 are also better sequels to the first movie than 3 and 2. So just don't do that.
Yeah. And, May be over, but it's still TransforMAY.
Well, no, we're going to... Yeah, and, we record this in TransforMAY. It's May 31st. You're listening in what is now known as Bumble June, at least for the first week.
Bumble June.
There you go.
And we'll be back with that next week.
I'm looking forward to that. And what I'm looking forward to the most, or maybe one of the most, is that I kind of have a grasp on the expanded lore of these movies now, having seen them all. Kind of, some of it I've already forgotten, but it's going to be interesting to see what exactly is retconned and like how, because I know it's sort of a soft reboot, right? Bumblebee, but so I'm very excited to see how that fits in with the rest of the movie.
What's been referenced, Yeah. So it'll be cool. I've never, when I watched Bumblebee, I had never seen, 2 out of 5 of these, so
Right.
it'd be interesting to
Yeah,
go
you
back.
didn't know he fought the Nazis, Mike.
Yeah,
You didn't know that was part of Bumblebee's
Whenever
character.
we're watching the new Bumblebee movie now, I'll have to remember he also fought Nazis before this. And he was a
That's right.
Volkswagen, classic.
That's right.
Yeah.
Which is
All
a
right.
German car.
Yeah.
That's right.
Let's think.
Well, he was a VW Bug originally, so there you go. The last night, the last movie, the last talk about a Michael Bay Transformers film for Normies Like Us for the foreseeable future, unless the rumor mill spins up. If there's money to be made, they might bring it back, but who knows? But if they do, they better bring
Can you
Mark
imagine?
Wahlberg.
We'll never be back, Tim. There's not going to be an Armageddon episode, a Pain and Gain,
Bad
Normies
Boys
like
episode.
Done.
I guess
Rock.
maybe. I don't know. It's just we're saying goodbye to somebody who forced their way into our lives, who I didn't want doing this from the first one, let alone 4 later.
Right. Well, let me ask you this one last question. We've talked about, comparisons between 2 directors, kind of both have controversial parts to them, Michael Bay and Zack Snyder, right?
Yeah.
We've seen, some of us have seen Army of the Dead now. Who do you prefer? Because I said Zack Snyder beforehand. I still think I stick with him, but what do you guys say?
Jacob, I just watched 300 right after Army of the Dead 2. I feel fucking primed to talk about this. And I told you guys, I watched that dumb 6 Underground 2 to get the feel of the non-Transformers-y Michael Bay stuff.
Sure.
Again, you've got a guy who wants to tell you he's telling you philosophy and he's hitting you over the head with stuff. And then you got another guy who's like, look at how hot this chick is. And if you don't know which one's which, you're not understanding either of these guys. But the thing that they're presenting is almost identical. I don't know. I'll be honest with you. I think I get more stuff out of Michael Bay films because I think Army of the Dead is one of the worst. I think it's sucker punch level bad. I've been tricked by Zack Snyder so many fucking times.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, with Michael Bay, going into it, there's a lot of the times where I'm like, oh, here we go again. Like I just say to myself, like, oh man, Uncle Bay. Oh.
Well, if you think about it, Zack Snyder might have more just bad movies because most of his DC movies I don't like either. I really only like the
another
Snyder
guy
cut, so.
who gets stuck, Jacob, working in something where you're like, no, dig yourself out of that hole. Stop making robot movies. Stop making superhero movies. And they're like, no, I'm gonna double down on this.
Right. Well, Mike, how about you? Who do you say, Snyder
Man,
or Bay?
I didn't think I'd be wrestling with the greatest philosophical dilemma of our
had to-
time, right? But
You had to pick one to live on a desert island with, and the other one you have to kill.
Shoot me.
Insufferable. I would shoot myself. How does that sound?
So you see, Superman is like Jesus. I know, Zach. Please.
While
Here's
he's
the
working
thing.
out.
Like Colin was kind of alluding to, you have one guy who's trying to say something profound and generally not succeeding. Then you have another guy who's not trying to say anything and succeeding. So it's like
you got one guy who thinks he's more profound than he is, and then you have one guy who's not profound at all and knows it and
doesn't give
care.
a shit.
Yeah,
So with
that's
Michael
true.
Bay,
There's some profoundness to that.
well, when you go to a Michael Bay movie, if you've seen one of them, you know what to expect. You know what you're gonna get, and you shouldn't be too disappointed if it's weird and bad, because that's kind of it, right? But with Zack
it's
Snyder,
not going to be like a ham-fisted political analogy about something.
Well, I think with Zack Snyder movies, people get this idea that it's going to be the gift, God's gift to cinema, and the greatest thing ever, and then it just doesn't live up to that. Meanwhile, Michael Bay is not promising anything; he's just giving you weird shit. So maybe I just thought Army of the Dead was so bad that I'll give it to Stockholm Syndrome. Yeah, Michael Bay.
Wow. I still think Snyder's highs are better than
his
Bay's,
highs
but
are
his
higher than
lows
Michael Bay's
are maybe
highs.
worse.
Yeah.
What is your favorite Snyder movie, Jacob?
Well, that's a good question.
300?
I liked 300. I liked Dawn of the Dead. That might be his best movie. And then I liked the Snyder cut. I didn't really like any of his other DC. Like, I don't like Batman v Superman very much. I think it's pretty bad. I think Man of Steel is bad. So, yeah, I guess
None
it's
of those
just...
are original. They're all based on something. You know,
Transformers,
Michael
bro.
Bay. Hey, Bad Boys is original. That first
Yeah.
Transformers, It's
Pain and
based on
Gain.
some. It's not fucking like anything that's in those, in the series. Pain and Gain, yeah, based on a story, but who fucking cares? It's original, at least. I don't know.
Here's the thing. I can say that I like 300 and I like Dawn of the Dead. I can say I like Transformers 1, and that's it. Like, honestly, like,
yeah, that's
out of all Michael Bay's movies.
Oh, I love The Rock.
I think
and
Pain and Gain is fun.
Bad Boys, and I love Pain and Gain.
Pain and Gain is
truly.
fun. Yeah.
I will say this about Snyder. I think I prefer his visual style and his aesthetic to Michael Bay.
Yeah, but that's a tough one, man. Just
Yeah.
give me Edgar Wright in Last Night in
Yeah,
Soho.
there we go.
Sign me up.
Sure.
That's my taste.
Yeah, which of these two, not very good
Fools.
directors are better? Yeah.
You
Tough
let
question.
us know, listeners, because it's hard to choose.
I'll say it again to you. The guy I choose every time: Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil, baby. I jump
Paul
on
W.S.
Steven Sommers,
Anderson.
man. Or no, yes, you're
Oh,
right. Sorry.
All W.S.
I'll take both of
Anderson.
them. I'll take Paul W.S. Anderson and Steven Sommers, the guy who did the Mummies. I'll take both those
I'll
low-grade
take Paul
idiots.
Thomas Anderson.
Okay.
Boo.
I guess now we're just picking anybody. Akira Kurosawa.
Yeah.
I'll take Martin
dumb
Scorsese.
action franchises, Paul W.S. Anderson, because Mortal Kombat and Resident Evil are more fun than these, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. Well, we did it. We cracked the code, the Da Vinci Code of the last night. Cogman, we're gonna get out of here or what?
That's right,
yeah,
my lord.
you're right, Mike. It's time, my lords.
It's been a journey.
Time,
It's been a long journey.
Out of
It
all
has
the
been.
lords I've
Normies-
served, you were the coolest.
Mm.
He says that.
Normies, we
Nice.
appreciate you rolling with us. Please, 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 please. Like we said, Transfor-May is over, but Bumble June is coming. We're gonna keep talking stuff.
It's a June
Otherwise,
bug.
check us out at our socials at Normies_like_us. Hit us up there. Give us some feedback on Transfor-May. Oh my God, what do you mean you would choose Michael Bay over Zack Snyder? Defend it. We dare you. Drag us into one of those internet fights. We would love to be a part of that. But otherwise, go there and recommend stuff. Say, now that you guys are done, I want you to do all the Power Rangers movies. Or, Joe did a great G.I. Joe episode. Can you get us more toy content? We will. Let us know.
Yeah, the
You
world
always
is our oyster now that we're free of
free.
the Transformers after Bumblebee, that is. But that one
right.
should be fun.
Shake him free.
And then we'll be watching the 1986 animated movie. Just kidding.
That's
Right.
right.
All right,
In a perfect
Normies.
world, I would.
Well,
All
wrapping
right.
it up.
We've been your hosts. This is Colin Yager.
Sentinel Mike, I will
This
kill
is-
you.
This is Cobman. See you later, Normies. Thanks for watching. Check us out on YouTube.
Bye.
Ooh, please. Bye.